Imagine you have a lot of requests to send to our large language model, but you might not need the results right away. A great solution is to use our Batch API, where you can send all your requests in a batch and receive the results as they're processed. This optimizes efficiency and scalability. The best part is that it costs 50% less than regular synchronous API calls. In this video, I would like to show you how you can use our Batch API to extract information from a pile of receipts like this one. We'll retrieve details about the items you purchased, their categories, and their costs. Let's dive in. First, let's make sure we have all the necessary libraries installed, Mistral AI and datasets. Now we need to get the receipts images. We found some receipts images from Hugging Face. We'll load a dataset of receipt images from this repo that we found on Hugging Face. This will load the dataset and convert the dataset into a pandas data frame. This might take a minute to load, but here's what the data looks like, the first 5 rows. We're only interested in the receipts images, so let's take a look at one of the images. df.image. Let's take a look at the second image with the index 1. Not sure why some of the information here is blurred out, but it is okay. We are mostly interested in the items purchased and the price. Before we get started with the Batch API, let's see how we can extract information from the single image using the Mistral API. We first need to define a function formatImage to convert an image to a base64 encoded string. This is necessary because we need to format our image into a format our API accepts. Next, we can initialize the Mistral client with our API key. If you're running this notebook, you might want to use your own API key here. We can then create a message payload that includes the base64 encoded image and the text instruction. The text instruction tells the model to extract the name and price of each item on the receipt, categorize each item into one of the following categories. We have medical, food, beverage, travel, or other, and return the results as a well-structured JSON object. Note that here we're using Pixel Large, our latest multimodal model, and we enabled JSON mode to specify the response format as a JSON object. We have also set a prefix to ensure the response starts with a curly bracket. This is not actually necessary. I just want to make sure the response returns JSON, which starts with a curly bracket. Okay, so now you can see the results is a JSON object representing a list of items extracted from the receipts. We have the name, price, classification as we requested. Now you know how to process one image. Let's process multiple images using the Batch API. First, we need to create a batch. Let's process 10 images as an example. Here, we create a list of JSON requests, one for each of the images we want to process. And each request includes a custom ID for tracking, the maximum number of tokens, and the messages payload we just saw. The only difference here is that we choose different images for each request here. So we have 10 images in this list. We can then join these JSON requests into a single batch data string. So this is what the batch data looks like. It's basically 10 API requests here. Next, we'll upload the batch data using the files.upload method. We define the file name, the content of the file, which is the 10 API requests that we just saw, and the purpose of this file, which is for the Batch API. Then we can take a look at the details of this batch data variable that we just defined. Next, we'll create a batch job using the batch.jobs.create method. We specify the input file as the ID of the batch data we just uploaded. We need to define the model that we want to use, Pixel Large latest. We also need to define the check completion endpoint and the optional metadata. Great. Now the batch job is created. We can take a look at this created job. You can see the status here is queued. It's not started yet. And then we can take a look at the batch job details. You can see the batch is running right now. So after about a minute or so, the status becomes success. In this instance, the process completed almost immediately. However, depending on your request and the available computing resources, batch generation can take up to 24 hours, but it's really fast when I tested. We can also print some of the details here, the total number of requests, the number of failed requests, successful requests, and the percentage of completed requests. Great, now we can get the batch results by downloading the output file here. Let's take a look at this output file. You can see here we have 10 rows representing 10 outputs of the 10 API requests. Each output has a unique ID here, and the custom ID is what we provided, and the response. And we can see the model we used, the token usage information, and we can see the content of the output. Okay, as a final step, we want to extract the information from the batch results and store in a pandas data frame. So here's the code. I'm not going to talk about the details of this code. If you have any questions, feel free to ask the chat for an explanation. And we can see the output of the data frame here, each custom ID representing a different receipt image. And we have the items of the receipt, their prices, and classification, just as we wanted. And we can check some of the receipts to see if it is correct. Let's see. DF image 9, our last image here, we have Korean curry M for 49.09. You can see this is pretty correct. Yeah, there you have it. We have successfully extracted information from multiple receipts using the Mistral Batch API and returned the data in a pandas data frame. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you find this video helpful or not, and I hope to see you next time.